Hey everybody, it's mission number 4 of the solo campaign Gabrielle and I are playing for the Beast Kingdoms, led by Roxx, as you probably already know. We picked up Tricky, one of our allies that had been kidnapped and sold into slavery. We got him from the last town because we helped them, and now Tricky has some information that he overheard while he was in captivity, and he said that there is a fort nearby that is an outpost for the cannibalistic tribe that attacked our friends and our town. So, we go to this town, and he says the guy that's got the contact information is this guy right here. This Brayherd shaman, and this is some of the gang here that are defending this. They also have a monster over there. So, this is the tribe that we're going to ultimately gonna have to face down in the future. This is just a small contingent of them in a ruined castle. This is where they hang out, and this is kind of an outpost for them. So, anyway, this is what we're going to do. We're going to attack it. The point of this mission is for us to end the game in control of this Brayherd shaman. We can pick him up like an objective, and we can pick him up. He's going to be an objective. He's not going to fight. When we arrive here, we find out that he's extremely drunk, and he will be scattering randomly each turn in a random direction. So, he is just going to be in a tizzy. Meanwhile, all of his buddies are going to try to prevent us from getting him. And we want him in our possession at the end of the game. So, let's see what we can do. The enemies have the Rage faction trait, and which, I mean, makes sense. And Tricky is an ambusher, now that we've leveled him up. So, he's actually not going to be deployed here. Everyone else is actually deployed here, but Tricky's going to be able to ambush on turn 1, so we'll figure out where we want him. And let's get this game on the road. At the start of turn 1, we scatter our Brayherd shaman, who's drunk and he's terrified. So he actually scattered 10 inches, so we moved him up to the 2nd floor. He's running over to that crypt. I wonder what's in there. And we rolled on the solo mission chart, and Roxx actually found 2 gold in these rocks. So he picked those up and added them to our stash. Also in the first turn, Sif gets a free movement because she's a scout. So she's in there. The first activation, they won, so the monster moves over and runs, and he doesn't run very far, but he's now closer to the rest of us. And then our activation, of course, Steven does a time slip on Murmak, and then he fails his aura for Murmak. So, the next thing he's going to roll for is his barrier. Roll 1 through 7. A 10? Oh, that's not good. Okay, so Steven hurts himself, which is not a great way to start this. I gotta pick a better dice than that. Steven is now at 2. Their first activation sees the beast go all the way over here, 15 inches to get closer to our group. He was out of charge range, though. Roxx hops off this boulder and successfully charges into him. His tackle ability actually did trauma to this guy and broke his armor down to save of 1. And then proceeded to beat this guy to death. And this guy did nothing back to him. So, on the first turn, first activation, Roxx has completely murdered someone. That was pretty good. The next activation is their icon, who has everybody rerolling hits this turn. He moves up and puts a aura on the cavalry guy down there, the Dragon Ogre, and actually fails his time slip roll. But that's what he did. Then Tuska moves up. She's got point blank, so she's getting +1 to hit in half range. He's able to hit twice and wound twice and dealt a -2 dexterity, skewered, and also a bleeding token on this monster. So, unless things turn around, we're doing pretty good right now. The cavalry guy, the Dragon Ogre, charges in here. He beats up Roxx with his aura, and then he completely kills Roxx, just completely decimates him. Roxx, on the other hand, does 1 damage to him and rolled a 1 on the wound chart roll. So Roxx is now dead. They score 2 points for killing our leader, and the score is 2-1 currently. Then we activate Tricky, and we decide, you know what? This aura is a really scary thing, so maybe we can activate Tricky, he's an ambusher, put him right there and charge that Bannerman, and if the Bannerman's busy, he's not going to be able to do his spells. The problem is we rolled a 1. Yeah, we rolled a 1 for the charge, so we can't do anything there, so that's exciting. Alright, well remember I told you things were looking good, and now I'm not so certain. Well, we've missed a bunch of critical rolls here. Tricky gets charged on the stairs by that guy. He loses 1 hit point and becomes disarmed, which is totally fine. He doesn't do much to that guy. Sif is trying to be Trixie because she's a scout and she'll get benefits if she can get into combat while in cover. So she moves her 10 inches around this tree and goes to charge in, and guess what? She failed the charge. So not only is she not in cover now because she couldn't make it, but also she did not get in on that monster. Well, it seems like poor old Gabby's luck has ran out. We ran Mermac his 10 inches and charged into the monster. Mermac's a fighter, so he strikes first, and we're trying to maybe take off another hit point or 2 off this monster before he activates so that he can bleed to death. Mermac gets smacked around. He uses his time slip. Out of 3 attacks, he only hits once, so we use the time slip to hit a second time. The monster critically saves them and smacks Mermac around, disarming him and breaking his armor. So Mermac is down to 1 hit point now. This is going south very quickly. Alright, this is the end of turn 1. At the start of turn 2, we have already had a bunch of ups and downs. First off, the drunk guy scatters towards us, which is nice, instead of away from us. But then we rolled and we ran into a trap on the solo chart. So poor Mermac, as if his day wasn't bad enough, he actually ran into a trap and got a crushing wound chart roll and just a crushing wound chart roll. So he got confused, and so now he's confused in a trap. And then they win the roll-off. We were both down 1 model, so they win the roll-off, and the monster decides to go first. The monster takes his bleeding, he loses a hit point, and he charges into Mermac. Mermac kills him, being a fighter. He activates first in close combat. He kills the monster while he's confused, and that is fantastic. And that gives Mermac a victory point, as well as it gives him an experience, as well as us a victory point. And that is fantastic. That is why the fighter class is so helpful, is they deal their damage first. Then, our activation, Tuska turns her attention to this guy. She shoots at him and gets 2 critical hits. So she hits him 4 times. He saves 2 of them and fails 2 of them, so he loses 2 hit points. He gets a slice, which is -2 fight skill, and a bleeding. So she did a bleeding on the monster, and then she did a bleeding on the dragon ogre. She's nuts. So they need to staunch that, or he's gonna die. They use their command token to move and run this fighter down all the way down to here. He rolled well on the run, and he staunches the dragon ogre's bleeding. Meanwhile, Sif realizes that she's in the free and clear now, so she moves and runs through here to take this sorcerer into captivity. With his bleeding freshly staunched, the dragon ogre charges into Tricky. He hits him with the aura. He's re-rolling hits because of the icon there, and he's able to murder Tricky in close combat. Tricky, fortunately, rolls a critical hit in close combat and is able to take off that last remaining hit point from the dragon ogre, killing him. Then Steven critically fails another casting roll, but he does manage to get aura on himself. The icon drops down and critically casts an aura on him and his buddy, but he fails his time slip. And then Mermac fails his willpower and scatters 9 inches away from here. He's now permanently disarmed this game because he did not pick it up in his movement phase. And that is the end of turn 2, so we are at 3-3 on turn 2. At the start of turn 3, we rolled on the solo chart, and she rolled 3 1s, which is the very lowest of the chart you can roll. And we end up getting a copy of one of the people on the board. So this guy is a fully healed copy. He walks on the board over here. And so now, instead of just 2 people left, they have 3 people left. And They charge this guy into Sif. He kills Sif, and Sif does 2 unsaved damage to him and a bleeding before she dies. So that was good, but that puts the score 4-3 in their favor. So Tuska moves up and shoots him right in the back out of fear that he would come staunch this guy's bleeding, and she shoots him and kills him. So now the score is back to 4-4, and Tuska is earning her pay. The new guy charges and uses their feet to make his charge a 9-inch charge. He gets behind Tuska. He does 1 unsaved wound to her and gives her -2 dexterity. He skewers her, and she strikes back, hits him once, and does a -1 willpower to him. Unfortunately, Mermac, we try to make his confusion roll, and he fails it and scatters 10 more inches in this direction. So he's just about useless in this game. We're on turn 3, and he's going to be so far away to do anything. It's not funny. This has been a really big turn of events. So Tuska's able to shoot this icon bearer while he attempts to charge her. He uses a free action to put on the aura and the time slip. He charges her from behind so she can't shoot him a second time. And he does an unsaved wound to her, and she got -2 fight skill for it. And she does 2 unsaved damage to him, because remember, he's an icon, so he starts with 4 hit points. She does 2 unsaved damage to him after he uses a time slip to save one of them. She almost killed him. And then, Steven over here, in a surprising play, we use the feat of our stealth faction trait to add 6 inches to his movement. So he moves 8 inches plus 6, 14 inches got him to this tree, and then we ran another 7. So that was excellent. So he's sitting there with 1 hit point, capturing the goat man, and hopefully we can hold on to it. At the start of turn 4, it is score 4-4. So this guy doesn't move at all. He charges. He uses his free action actually to put time slip on himself, and he attempts aura but fails. He charges in the rear arc of Tuska so she could not shoot him, and she kills him. She does 1 saved wound to him. Obviously, he saves it. So then Steven does the only thing he can do. He's going to stand here and make a stand. So he puts a time slip on himself, and he still has his aura. He puts a curse on this guy, -1 attack, and then he tries to put this barrier up and critically fails it, but thank God he has his time slip, or thank Ishtar, I should say. He has his time slip, and he makes it go off. It is a movement blocking barrier, and the only thing left he's got to worry about is this one single guy. At the end of this guy moves and tries to charge. He only rolls a 6, so he cannot get to Steven, which means we secure the objective. And then Mermac finally breaks out of his confusion. He moves his 10 inches over to here, and he had a 10-inch charge, and we rolled a 9, so we almost got to that icon guy. That would have definitely been the cherry on top. So the score is technically 4-4. I would definitely give us a point or 2 for the objective, which means we still win, because he was really the real objective. It wasn't kill points necessarily. So now Steven is going to fly off with this drunken guy, and I think Steven really pulled it off at the end. He had kind of a lame first half of the game, but running all the way over there and then barricading himself in so he could not be bothered was pretty good. So that is the end of the game, and we won. I'm very excited for that. Alright, everybody leveled up to some degree here. A lot of people ended up getting an extra... Actually, I think just about everybody reached experience 10 this time and got an extra stat. So Mermac got an extra attack now, and Tuska, I think... Oh, she already got that. That's why she's 2 attacks now. Steven is now willpower 8. Sif is now movement of 12, and Roxx is 4 hit points, and Tricky, what did he get? I actually forgot to give Tricky anything, so he gets an extra attack as well. So we've got a lot of attacks here. Roxx is 2, Sif is 1, Steven is 2, Tuska is 2, Mermac is 3, and Tricky is 2. So we've got a very fast, very attacky warband. And you can see that Sif was able to... This death for Roxx was a 3rd insanity for him, but Sif was able to remove it with her inspiring. Roxx learned the Vanguard thing, so he can be 2 inches outside her deployment zone. And Tuska learned First Aid. And Myrmec successfully scavenged. We were not able to find a merchant. And that was about it. So thank you for watching, and mission number 5 will be up as soon as I can.